Welcome, everybody, to our council meeting, February 7th, on the eve of the Frosty Festival. And I'll call for a motion, please. The agenda is before you, and it is moved by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Rice. All in favor of the agenda? And those opposed? And that motion is carried. Now we'll read the lands acknowledgement. We have a few guests here today, which we'll segue into very shortly, folks. Just bear with me as I do the land acknowledgement. We begin today's public council meeting by respectfully acknowledging the province of Newfoundland and Labrador as the ancestral homelands of many diverse populations of Indigenous peoples, including the Beothuk, who have contributed to 9,000 years of history on the island of Newfoundland. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people. We acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. We honor this beautiful land together as we continue to strive for collective healing and true reconciliation. Thank you, everybody. Moving right along, Council, January 24th, 2023, Public Council minutes are there. Just calling out for anybody who's noted any errors or omissions, please. Hearing none, Ms. Mullins, great job as always. I'll call for a motion, please, to adopt the minutes. Moved by Councillor Fry and seconded by Councillor Lane. All in favor? And those opposed? Again, motion carried. Business arising, Council, please, before we move on in the agenda. Anything coming up, please quote the item number in the action report or the minutes. I'm not going to say it. Just bear with me as I give you a little bit more time. So we're going to begin now with a proclamation from the Eating Disorders Awareness Week. And I'm happy to see Mr. Paul Toomey is here, the Executive Director with the Eating Disorders Foundation. Paul, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Together, we'll read the proclamation, and I'll invite you to, not for the first time, you and Mr. Withers have been here many a times to join us. Paul, it's nice to see COVID over. Not that your work ever stopped, but the ability to meet in public and talk about it has been thwarted a little bit the last little while. Eating Disorders Awareness Week, February 1st to the 7th, 2023. Whereas an eating disorder is a serious mental illness with often devastating physical implications, and whereas eating disorders affect many individuals and families in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and whereas recovery from an eating disorder is a journey that includes support from families and caregivers, and whereas the Eating Disorder Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador is the leading advocacy group dedicated to promoting support, treatment services, and providing public support services and information about matters relating to eating disorders throughout the province. So whereas February 1st to the 7th, 2023 is dedicated across Newfoundland and Labrador and the entire country as a special time when many educational and awareness activities take place to help raise the level of understanding of eating disorder prevention, treatment, and recovery. Whereas the theme for Eating Disorders Awareness Week this year is transforming the narrative from asks to action. I therefore, on behalf of Council, as Mayor of Mount Pearl, I do hereby proclaim February 1st to the 7th to be observed as Eating Disorders Awareness Week in our fine city. And I've affixed that right here for you, Mr. Toomey. And perhaps I could lead by saying, I see your theme is all about action. It's been a challenging couple of years, Paul.
Has indeed, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mayor and councillors, for having me here this evening, but more importantly, for recognizing Eating Disorder Awareness Week. This is the final day of Eating Disorder Awareness Week, but as my chair, Mr. Withers, said at an event earlier this afternoon at Government House, it seems like every week is Eating Disorder Awareness Week in our office. And indeed, it has been, as the mayor just said, the last number of years have been challenging with COVID-19. They've certainly added to the stress and strain that people feel and have triggered a lot more eating disorders. And that stress and strain is being seen in our public healthcare system, as it is in all parts of our public healthcare system, but eating disorders is the same way. by coming here today and by having you sign this proclamation, it shows us that the communities in this province have a better understanding, are aware of what we're doing, are going to talk about the issue, talk about it with your families, talk about it with your friends, talk about it in your community, and we'll be here to support. That's one thing about the foundation. We're here to provide support, to provide information, and we're here to provide support in particular for families who are dealing with an eating disorder. We have support groups, we have different training sessions that we provide the families at no charge to those families, by the way. And we do that day in and day out regularly. Even today, we were doing training sessions, and then over this past week, we've had 2 lunch and learn sessions that have had over 70 people register for them. So that
Wow.
tells you there is an interest. If there was one good thing that came out of COVID-19, was our ability to truly become the Newfoundland and Labrador Eating Disorder Foundation when we turned to Zoom and virtual learning. And I have a staff that have been absolutely amazing, do great work every day, but the work they did to convert from the in-house training to now doing it very, very naturally with people from Sheshatshiu, people from Marystown, people from St. John's, of course, and people from Mount Pearl. Every town and city in this province is impacted by an eating disorder. That I can assure you, and your continued support is appreciated. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council.
Thank you. There's a silver lining in every cloud, isn't there? At the end of the day. And of course, as members of the community and community leaders, we know the value of the support, not just of health professionals, but our families who help support those experiencing an eating disorder. And frankly, it's very stressful, very challenging.
Yeah.
And it's not something you're going to immediately fix overnight. It's not like going taking antibiotics for cold, is it?
It's a long journey, but it's a journey. And the thing I didn't say, and I'll end with this, is that it involves the families. Individuals have a hard fight ahead of them. But if they have the support of their families, their chances of winning that fight are so much better.
Stick together as a team. Councillor Fry.
Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about this today. I don't know if you're aware, but I had a modeling agency for a number of years. So I have come across several people who have been struggling with eating disorders. And I find it's one of the most misunderstood illnesses out there. And it's not a choice. People say, well, why do they go and throw up? It's not a choice. It's a condition, and it's something that the work that you're doing is extremely important to bring awareness to it and give people a better understanding of it, because you're right, it affects more people than we realize that it affects.
The statistic that's probably most startling is the fact that next to opioid deaths from an eating disorder are the second highest death rate of any mental illness in this country.
Wow. Well, Councillor Lane.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for being here today. Eating disorders plague the homes of so many, and as an educator, I see it all the time in all of the schools that I work at. And it's heartbreaking and to see people struggle. And oftentimes you can't, it's not a disease that's visible, because eating disorders come in all shapes and sizes. And that's something that I think some people find it hard to grasp, that no matter what size you are, you can have an eating disorder, and it's just as valid as anybody else. But I'm glad to hear that the education has expanded so much. And I know in schools, there's a lot more education that there wasn't before. So I think that it's great that we're bringing awareness to this, and hopefully you can continue to do the work that you're doing and help more and more people. So thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kiley.
I want to thank my colleagues who've already started the conversation, and yourself, Mr. Toomey, for coming in and bringing awareness to this. This has really expanded over the past 15 years. I remember working at the Women's Center at the time. Your chair, Mr. Withers, had come in and did a presentation about what your group was all about. There was about 5 women attending there. There wasn't one woman who wasn't impacted in some way, of a family, a community member who was taught that. But at that time in society and in community, there was a lot of still stigma and shame and misunderstanding about what the illness is. And I want to thank people by starting conversations and talking openly and honestly. There's a lot of judgment and pre-assumptions made and assumptions made by who can be impacted by the illness. What does that mean? And again, we have a hard time when it comes to understanding matters of mental health in the same way we deal with matters of physical health. We're getting there and we're understanding that judgment is not the way. And I think that is a good example of why families sticking together and supporting and talking openly and supportively about those things are helpful. But I just want to congratulate and thank you for the journey that I know your organization has done so much over the past 15 years, grown from one or two very engaged, very understanding people who've been impacted personally and very passionate to, you're right, it's now Newfoundland and Labrador. We're recognizing it at our own tables. We're recognizing it within our own communities. So thank you for that.
Thank you much, Councillor Rice, and then Councillor Locke. I may
Yes,
have the
Mr.
order wrong,
Toomey.
but-
Yeah, last word. Thanks for coming in. And I just wanted to say, we certainly support what you're doing and accuracy, I mean, just the support. And I just want to mention, I raised up 3 kids, 3 girls, and I know firsthand what it's like going through the teenage years and the peer pressure back then. But now the peer pressure on kids now, like in the even younger ages, is enormous and is out of control. And one of the big things is the eating disorders with younger kids, and they're getting younger and younger all the time. And I look back in Mount Pearl, I coached several sports, and we had several occasions where we were taking me and the coaches and the parents were taking kids out of the province or away for a week at a time. And we encountered stuff like this firsthand. So and we had to deal with it while we're on the road. It's not easy. Very challenging, and and it's difficult, but you're right in saying like the support, the family supports and supports around you are really important. So, and I just want to say thanks for coming in. Appreciate your voice on it. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I just want to build on or continue the conversation that my colleagues were having. I too was a former educator, and early in my career, I did encounter some of my students stricken with this. And at that time, compared to now, the work you guys have done has been so tremendous. I remember meeting with the parents of the children at the time, and it was the unknown. It was the absolute stress and turmoil that it caused the family because this was the boogeyman. They didn't understand, but the work that you guys have done. Now there's so much support out there. It's still a challenge and a journey, as you said, but with all folks like you guys and all the support there, multiple people are walking that journey. So I just want to thank you for coming in, and it's an honor for our council to certainly bring in this proclamation and just let you know that the work you guys are doing has not gone unnoticed. So you're to be commended. So thank you.
Councillor Antle. Thank you, Councillor Locke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toomey, for coming in. I won't go over whatever my other colleagues have said, but eating disorder has been affected my family in the past 20 years, and it's something that we learned to live with, and we still continue to do that right to this day. But I have friends now involved in this too, and their child is into that also. So it's something that's eye-opening as you get involved into it more and more and more. And sometimes, like we all say, it's more people involved than you really, really think. I think it affects every family, and that's something that we're glad that you're here and shining a light onto it so we can certainly understand it more. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's fair to say, though, the data is skewed on gender basis, isn't it?
It's still skewed. It's still probably 80-20, but the thing that has changed, the fact that males are coming forward more, we're identifying that. But the other thing is the age range. And one of you just mentioned a few minutes ago that they're getting younger.
Yeah.
I've heard of diagnosis as young as 6 years old at the Janeway. to their program.
Hmm.
And we get middle-aged and older people who are dealing with eating disorders. So it's not just the young woman's disease anymore.
Right.
And as Councillor Grant said, it's every shape, every size. You
Mm.
cannot define an eating disorder in the way that
People look.
years ago it was defined as the emaciated woman.
Hmm.
It's not that anymore. Eating disorders are more than that. They're a serious mental illness. And the conversation I've heard this evening is wonderful because you said a lot of the things that I didn't think to say. And it's all true. And it tells me that you guys are involved, you understand what's happening, and it's great to hear that from the council, especially from the city of Mount Pearl. So
Well,
thank
it's
you.
really good to see you again. It's been a long time.
As
and,
indeed, sir.
let's do a little promotion together with a picture.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Let's
I got to prove to my bosses that I was here. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, I'll be there. Okay.
Thank you, Paul. Good seeing you. As always. Now, I started the meeting by saying, this is the eve of the Frosty Festival, which begins tomorrow. And we've got a couple of guests here tonight, board members and hardworking volunteers here in the city of Mount Pearl. No stranger to the Frosty Festival and no stranger to Mount Pearl and Mount Pearl City Hall. Wanda Tiller is here. She's the chair of the festival and fellow board person and colleague on the board. Renee Christopher Pendergrass is here too, right? So can I invite you both to come up? Tell us what you have planned for the next week. And I know we get the Frosty flu, but that comes after Frosty. Notice, folks, there's no script. The story has been written differently every year, but I'm pretty confident that these two fine volunteers can speak off the cuff about the amazing 60 events we're going to see from February 8th to the finale on the 14th. So I invite you to come a little bit closer, both of you, if you don't mind. Good to see you, Renee, and good to see you, Wanda. Wanda, by the way, is our current Citizen of the Year. So this is what you see, and this is the action you get from Citizen of the Year. The floor is yours. What are you? Indulge us with the future.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank the city of Mount Pearl, the workers, the staff. Without you guys, we could never have done this with your continued support. We did go from 12 days, 80 events, down to 7 days, 60 plus events. So every single day, it's full from 8 in the morning until, well, the weekend is just all one weekend. It starts tomorrow night with the Rogers Parade of Lights. Hopefully the weather holds out for us. Then we're going into Thursday and we have our seniors got a card game and a 120 in the afternoon. Friday night is our extravaganza, Tadal Productions. You cannot miss that. And then Saturday with the breakfast. And Saturday it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it continues on for us until probably about 3 o'clock Sunday morning. And then it starts again at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're really looking forward to it. And thank you again for your support. I'm going to let Renee do a little bit of talking.
Nice.
I'm the shy
Good
one.
to see you.
I'm just going to echo what Wanda said. So big thank you to certainly the city of Mount Pearl and city councilors, and certainly to our staff at the city of Mount Pearl. This festival would not operate certainly without the help of our city staff and council. As well, I mean, we have so many sponsors, community sponsors that help us, put off this event every year. It's quite the big feast. But I think, it's time. It's been a rough couple of years for us. Pandemic has, made our festival a lot more downgraded than we usually are used to. So I think everybody is ready to get out. They're ready to experience what this winter festival is all about. And as my husband said, everybody's ready to get the smell of house off in. So we're looking forward to that. Again, I hope all our communities and families come out and celebrate what we have. It's some great events. We've tried to ensure that we made sure every demographic is involved, from young children to young adults, to seniors, to every demographic that we can possibly think. And I think we've captured that in this week's event. So thank you, everybody.
So one of the challenges coming out of COVID, I guess, has been a little disruptive force when it comes to volunteers. But I think there's some of the good news is that you've attracted some new blood.
We
You've brought
have.
some new people to the table, which is nice.
Absolutely. I mean, volunteers, trying to find volunteers has been a real, I guess, feat across the country, not just certainly we're seeing here in this province, but I think the last couple of weeks, Sherry, our director of volunteers, has really shot it out of the park, and she's really rallied some troops. A lot of the high school kids are coming out, which is really great to see. I love to see the high school kids coming out and helping us put off this event. So we're doing well. I think we were a little worried there for a minute. But
Yeah. No, you've done a great job.
Volunteers are coming out.
Yeah. And of course, I think most of us are helping out with a couple of events as well. So
That's right.
everybody in the community is trying to do their share to make sure the 41st Frosty Festival, the first time in 3 years, is a very successful one. And we're very confident. Look forward to a game of growl, a bit of entertainment, a bit of food. And you hit the nail on the head. There's something for everybody, for young kids, for seniors, and everybody in between. There's sports, there's ecumenical, it crosses everything that our community is all about. So thank you very much,
Absolutely.
both of you and to the board. Please pass that on. And I know I speak on behalf of council too, in thanking our directors and our CAO, our staff. They're all in it too as well, right? And we don't do it because it's our job or it's our work. It's because frankly, we live this way, and we look forward to a week or two in February
Well, we do have.
and
the
a
best.
celebration.
We do have.
You're
the best.
absolutely right. Council, any commentary? Deputy Mayor, please.
You folks are rock stars, I gotta say.
Mhm.
This is the light of a really sometimes a dark and difficult time in the middle of winter, in the middle of snowstorms, in the middle of everything and I just can't imagine how difficult it might have been the last couple of years where we haven't had the opportunity. It's easy when you got the momentum, but when you feel like you got a couple of years where you haven't been able to do that to kickstart something, it takes extra energy, it takes innovation, it takes collaboration, and you guys knocked it out of the park. And so proud of that. And I'm so excited to hear about young people volunteering.
Mm.
You're absolutely right. Volunteerism is changing, and everyone is finding that challenge. And props to you guys for looking and finding ways to engage people. I'm really excited to be attending bar, I think, at one point. I know I'm at bingo, but I wouldn't call. But I leave that to Mark to do the calling. But it's super fun. I love the volunteer work as much as I love attending, because it just fills the cup in so many ways, guys. And I'm just so happy that we're where we're too, and the new stuff that it brings, but also the nostalgia of something that is totally a cultural institution in this community. We don't do it. No one does it like us. So
Councillor Antle wants
great
to know
job.
why there's a conflict between Brewfest and all the other sessions, right? Like, how come there's an overlap come Friday night? Like, I think the extravaganza is one of the best events there is, right?
So many days, so many events.
Councillor Antle.
As Deputy Mayor Colley was saying, is that she's going to be volunteering on the bar, and someone got to be on the other side, so I'll take care of that. So, I can't have everybody on that side of the bar, so. Yeah. But one thing I must say, and I'll be really, really quick, is that as I go around Mount Pearl the past couple of weeks, all you can hear people talk about is the Winter Carnival.
Yeah.
And guys, we're so happy to see you come in. I know it's a busy, busy time, but thank you for everything you're doing, and you're making us look good. So thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. Good to see you both. See you tomorrow night. See you at the show. Hey, you want to get a snap? I'll always say yes to that, Isabel or Councillor Fry. All right, council. So I love a pun or a play on words. So this may come as a surprise, but February 11th is 2/11 day here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And it's a little play on the date. And City Hall will be lit up red. You see in your kit there, it's from United Way Newfoundland and Labrador to celebrate and to acknowledge the 211 service that exists here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Any of us can contact 211 for information referral for things like health services and mental health supports, food banks, meal programs, grocery delivery, support services for seniors, people with disabilities, housing help, an emergency shelter, along with income support and financial assistance. So one of the champions of that is the United Way. And we celebrate the fact that we have a 211 in existence, and we will be acknowledging that on February 11th. When you drive by City Hall, you'll see that it's lit up red. So council, now I'm going to turn to committee reports. Planning, Engineering, and Development Committee, Councillor Fry, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have a few items on our agenda this evening, so I'm going to start with the first couple. First on our agenda is a request for a discretionary use permit. And this is for number 16 Harvard Drive, Marantha Therapeutics. So the city is in receipt of an application by Marantha Therapeutics to operate a home occupation at 16 Harvard Drive. And this is to accommodate a registered massage therapy business. The business will operate Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And the applicant expects approximately 6 clients a day. So prior to making their decision, council invited comments in writing no later than noon on Friday, December the 30th, and no submissions were received by the city expressing interest in attending a briefing session. And as a result, the scheduled briefing session was canceled. The recommendation is that the committee has reviewed the application submitted by Marantha Therapeutics to operate a home occupation at 16 Harvard Drive and recommends approval of the application, and that a development permit be issued subject to section 7.18 of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010, subject to the conditions as set out by the Department of Community Development, specifically conditions as outlined by the following: the St. John's Regional Fire Department, the City of Mount Pearl Inspection Services Municipal Enforcement Division, the City of Mount Pearl Finance Division, the City of Mount Pearl Planning Division, and the City of Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010 and related requirements. So there are actually 2 here, but I'm going to just start with this one. This is for a home occupancy for a registered massage therapist, and there was some investigation into this, and we had some talks about this, and it's something that I'm really pleased to bring forward. So in this particular case, I so move on the request for discretionary use permit for Marantha Therapeutics.
Thank you. Councillor Fry has moved it. Second, thank you, Councillor Rice. It is a discretionary use, requires a minute of council. All in favor? Pending no discussion, sorry. Yes, okay. All in favor, and those opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
So next we have a similar one. This one is for Sunrise Massage Therapy, and this one is at 5A Sunrise Avenue. So again, the city is in receipt of an application by Sunrise Massage Therapy to operate a home occupation at 5A Sunrise Avenue to accommodate a registered massage therapy business. The business will operate Tuesday through Saturday between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. for approximately 30 hours per week. And the applicant expects 4 to 6 clients a day. And again, prior to making the decision, council invited comments in writing no later than noon on Friday, December the 30th. And again, no submissions were received by the city expressing interest in attending a briefing session. And as a result, the scheduled briefing session was canceled. So the Planning, Engineering, Development and Committee and Development Committee, has reviewed the application submitted by Sunrise Massage Therapy to operate a home occupation at 5A Sunrise Avenue and recommends approval of the application and that a development permit be issued subject to section 7.18 of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010, subject to the conditions as set out by the Department of Community Development, specifically conditions outlined by the following. And again, there's the St. John's Regional Fire Department, the City of Mount Pearl Inspection Services Municipal Enforcement Division, the City of Mount Pearl Finance Division, the City of Mount Pearl Planning Division, and the City of Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010 and related requirements. And I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by Councillor Rice. Any comments, council? It's been a while coming, I must say. You sort of indicated that we've had a request, I think, come our way in the last 12 to 18 months, and I'm glad we can see the regulations changed. And obviously there's a demand for this type of work, and there are RMTs out there that are willing to provide it. So I'll call the motion. All in favor? And those contra? And that motion's carried. Thank you.
Next, we have our building and occupancy permit listing for the period of January the 16th to the 27th. The Planning, Engineering, Development Committee recommends that the building permits issued for this period, showing a total construction value of $59,900, be approved, and further that the occupancy permit list be accepted as presented. And for your information, these are here in your kit. And I so move.
Again, moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by Councillor Rice, January 16th to the 27th permits. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Contra-minded and carried again. Thank you.
And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Councillor Rice, for the remainder of our report.
Thank you, Councillor Fry. So worship, the second part of our PED committee meetings. For main information purposes only, number one is our World Wetlands Day. So it is recognized that World Wetlands Day was February the 2nd, 2023. A day that celebrates our wetlands and raise global awareness about the importance role of wetlands for people on our planet. The City of Mount Pearl continues its commitment to preserving and protecting our wetlands. I don't know if anybody wants any comments on that. I think it might be.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Locke.
If I could, please.
Mhm.
I fully support this. We do have wetlands area up around our Powers Pond Park.
a big one,
Our
yeah.
walkway goes through that. And I know the measures, we've taken with respect to trying to protect that from any effluent or discharge that may come into the system. We also have the wetlands around Branscombs Pond, which is again, another well utilized with the boardwalk going around there. And also the wetlands up in Northlands. And I know when we went through the discussion about the rezoning in that area for future development, residents did raise concerns about the wetlands in the area, and we committed to actually doubling the buffer that was required around that. So, we value the importance of our wetlands here, and just, some information here, more than 35% of our natural wetlands have been lost in the last 50 years. And in many cases, people see them as, as bogs or impediments to development and stuff like that. But they have such a diversity of wildlife and plants and species. And they provide, a great filtering service, nesting for our birds, our migratory birds, and the like, and any rodents, any waterfowl and the like. So I'm happy to see that people are, again, becoming aware of this and are more cognizant of that. So I'm proud to say in Mount Pearl that we do take this very seriously. And we have taken measures to ensure that not only do we protect the existing wetlands that we have, but to enhance their protection where possible. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Antle next.
Yeah, it certainly is World Wetlands Day, something that we take very seriously in the city of Mount Pearl. And Branscombs Pond, I walk that almost daily. I take my grandkids over and all the time, and they look at it too, and they're always asking, there's little reeds in the river and this kind of in the pond, and they're looking at the ducks, and it's something that, it's great to see in Mount Pearl. You can see so much wildlife, within a kilometre of your home. You want to go see that. But I noticed on Branscome's Pond now, there must be somebody doing some work. There's little tiny homes or houses, like bird houses, all throughout the Branscome's Pond. I don't know why they're there, but they seem to be recently put there. But it looks like somebody put them there.
From one answer to another.
There you go.
I've noticed them as well. It's not something that the city is doing, but I take it as the community. There's people interested in either building birdhouses or different things, and it looks great. I see it myself.
No, it's quite nice. So, I mean, World Wetlands Day, I think Mount Pearl's right in there. We're a city. I think Councillor Fry said last week, we're a city within a park. I mean, that's certainly goes into it. So it's a World Wetlands Day. Well done, Mr. Councillor.
All right,
Thank you.
all done. Okay, I'm going to move back to you, Councillor Rice. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship.
Thanks, everybody.
So next part is our, I'll say is our busy, it'll show our busy phase of what's coming for this year, 2023. So it's our capital and our maintenance projects updates. So the tender documents currently being prepared for the upcoming 2023 construction season, which is going to be quite busy. So our 2023 maintenance tenders, the 2023 crack ceiling tender is currently being drafted. The 2023 to 2026 line painting tender, 3-year contract is currently being drafted. So that'll go out to tender and we'll have bids. Hopefully we'll have multiple bids on that. So it won't be having the typical one person bidding again on that. So we can try to get some good pricing back. The 2023 asphalt and concrete tender currently under development. The capital project currently in construction phase to be completed in 2023 are the pedestrian underpass project currently active, scheduled to be completed in June 2023. Smart accessible playground project currently active, estimated schedule to complete in July of 2023. The capital projects recently awarded. The ICEP multi-street, includes design and construction for the following scope. And these scope include Spruce Avenue from Croucher to Commander section, full replacement. Birch Avenue is going to be a full replacement. Roosevelt Avenue from Donovan Street to Roosevelt Avenue section, full replacement. Carroll Drive, a full replacement, excluding water main. Billard Avenue, installation of structural water main liner. Estimated project schedule completed fall of 2024. And the capital projects awarded currently being negotiated. ICEP for Farrell Drive from Evans to Holding Place section. Estimated project schedule completion fall 2024, assuming awarded before current validity deadline. And the Capital Civic Center project RFQ and the RFP under development. The RFQ stage estimated to be completed in October, in the first quarter of 2023, the next several months. RFP stage estimated to be completed in the second quarter 2023. Construction estimated to start third quarter 2023, and anticipated construction total completion estimated fourth quarter 2024. The capital project climate change funding, limited call for tender, invited tenders being contacted. Limited call tender to be issued February 2023. Estimated construction completion the fourth quarter of 2023, funding deadline. And the capital projects, the MYCW 2020 to 2023 would be White Boulevard, full replacement, Farrell Drive, Topsail to Evans section, Farrell Drive Pump House, consultant RFP, and Jacqueline Road, consultant RFP, and First Street, a section from Civic number 17 to Glendale, and Keene Place, a full replacement. So as you can see, there's going to be a busy time coming up for PEW and our city this summer, and there's going to be lots of, I guess, people wanting to get in and out, but there's going to be a lot of, I guess, traffic being rerouted in certain areas. But one thing we're looking forward to, all these projects getting started and getting completed. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Well done. A very lengthy update and kind of tells us where we stand. I believe Councillor Antle has a question.
Just a quick question, and maybe Director Mantle can answer this. On Spruce Avenue, why are we not doing the full length of Spruce Avenue? We're going from Croucher to Commander, and it seems to be from Commander to Park, there's a small section.
Good question.
And from Smallwood to Croucher is a small section.
All yours, Director.
Thank you, Councillor Rental. This is strictly following our asset management plan, so it depends on the age of the underground infrastructure.
Mm,
So in this case, the underground infrastructure doesn't meet the expiry on that small section. So once we come to those sections, but the dates expire,
Yeah.
we'll do a replacement. So
And they're not standalone contracts.
they're
They're combined with other
it's
larger.
combined with other work,
Yeah.
other larger pieces.
But while we're at,
Makes sense.
Spruce Avenue, for tearing up Spruce Avenue, for the sake of, 1/10 of a kilometer, why don't we just,
Well, when we seek funding for the ISIP program, it's based upon a certain criteria that we apply based on our asset management plan.
Mm.
So we it's either eligibility or it's simply the funding is just not available. There's other priority projects within the city.
all right, thank you.
No motion required. We're going to move on to the next committee report. Thanks, everybody, especially the PED committee. We're going to go to Recreation and Community Safety. Councillor Lane, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. So the first item on our agenda tonight is the Mount Pearl Seniors Independence Group. Sorry, 1 second. My computer just
Disappeared?
disappeared. Shut up. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the memorandum of understanding, January 1st to December 31st, 2025. The committee recommends approval to execute a MOU between the city and the Mount Pearl Senior Independence Group for the period of January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2025, which includes the provision of an annual operating subsidy in the amount of $50,000. So we're very proud of our Senior Independence Group here in Mount Pearl, and we're definitely happy to continue to support them in any way that we can here in the city. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Lane and seconded by Councillor Antle. Any thoughts, comments? As we continue the tradition of funding a very fine group here in the city. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thanks.
Thank you, and I'll be passing it over to my colleague, Councillor Antle.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. And number 2 for us, for our fund committee, is we got to pay the bills for the Santa Claus parade. And one of the things that happened with the Santa Claus parade is the Mount Pearl Lions Club, who run our parade, have an insurance bill, and the committee recommends approval for the city of Mount Pearl to help pay that bill, their insurance bill of an amount of $1,764.10, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle. Thank you. And seconded by Councillor Lane. Thank you. Any comments, questions? I think this was an unexpected cost that you're seeing throughout the insurance industry. Everything is going up. I guess it's tantamount to some of the inflation we're seeing everywhere else. I'll call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And number 3 is regarding a milestone event funding for the Mount Pearl Seniors Independence Group. And it's unbelievable, but the Mount Pearl Seniors Independence Group is now 25 years old. And the city recommends approval to release the milestone event funding to the Mount Pearl Seniors Independence Group in installments of $5,000 once approved by council, and the remaining $5,000 to be released once all receipts are in. So this is a total of $10,000 for the year 2023 for their milestone event. And this is something we do with most of our groups within the city who celebrates 25 years. And it's great to see that, our Seniors Independence Group, and I think it's over 500 people involved in that group. And they're quite active here in the city of Mount Pearl, and I'm certainly proud to push this through to recommend, and I so move for the $10,000.
And again, moved by Councillor Antle, seconded by Councillor Lane. Question from first Councillor Locke and then Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. I support this. I'm just thinking 25 years. It seems just like yesterday, but pardon me? Yeah, I was still in high school. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, thank you. Yes, that's right. Yeah. But this ties back to the first one that the first item Councillor Lane brought in, and the value, as Councillor Antle just mentioned here. I mean, we have upwards of 500 members, and this I've been doing some reading recently on seniors and loneliness and social isolation, and our speaker, with the eating disorder, talked about the impact that had on mental health and loneliness and isolation, social isolation, has significant health impacts. I was reading one, like in the UK, they indicated that it's equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I mean, it impacts your heart, it impacts your mind in terms of dementia. It impacts heart attacks and stroke. I mean, it's an issue that I think we need to turn more attention to worldwide. And like the UK in 2017, I mentioned this before in this chamber, they brought in a government ministry of loneliness. There's a minister of loneliness in the UK addressing this issue. There's a minister of loneliness in Japan affecting this issue of social isolation and the impacts. And I just want to commend our Seniors Independence Group, because the program of activities that they provide, and of course, we know, having seen, and the guys and gals that go to bingo and call bingo, when the seniors got back together, what they missed most was the social connection.
Yeah.
They were lonely, you know, and I just think I think it's wonderful. I mean, you know, the annual subsidy, operating subsidy we give of $50,000 is such good money to spend on the seniors who have built this city for us, and it ensures long-term health, both mentally and physically. So I commend the Seniors Independence Group, and I certainly support the funding that we provide to this marvelous organization. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. And my sentiments exactly there, Councillor Locke. I mean, the stats came out that the most impacted people through COVID were seniors and the younger kids. So, yeah. So, you know, and I look at now, like we go up there, all of us go up and volunteer and help out. And, you know, and you see them now, there's such you know, especially the single seniors who are by themselves. I mean, the social part and just the getting together and just talking and having a cup of tea and a tea bun together, you know, and playing a game of cards. So all the smiles on their face were, you know, and I got 2 seniors that live with me, you know, in my in-law apartment or my apartment. And I certainly know firsthand the impact that the COVID had on them, and now getting out into the community with their friends again, it's a big part of their life. So I certainly support this 100%. And what Councillor Lane and Councillor Locke has brought forward. And I think it's great. We can support stuff like this.
It's really interesting because during Frosty Festival, there's a 120s card game, you know, which is not just for the Seniors Independence Group, but they'll largely be there. But the Seniors Independence Group also organizes this Frosty sing-alongs I think it's in 4 locations here in the city. We call them the seniors' homes, you know, Crede Matter, Hillcrest, the Masonic, as well as Pearl House, right? So they give back to the community, even though the people who receive their love and attention are not necessarily members. And right now, for the month of January, February, March, as part of the card game every Wednesday that's held at the Reed Center, the seniors are all bringing in, each and every one of them are bringing in food for the food banks, right? So this is the least we can do to help a legacy group in the city of Mount Pearl who continue to give back to the community. And there is a motion on the floor. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Those opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. All right, we're going to move now to Corporate Services and Public Works. Deputy Mayor Kiley. No, Councillor Locke.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it
Thank
right.
you, Mayor. We have five items here. I'll take the first 3 and then I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor Kiley to finish off our committee report. The first for us here tonight, Mayor, are the invoices for approval. You can see here that we have 9 in total, and they total $526,595.09 to be approved for payment. And just some notable invoices that you see here. The Municipal Assessment Agency at $67,470. This agency is a professional independent property assessment agency, and we're all familiar with this, the homeowners in Mount Pearl. They provide annual assessments to most municipalities throughout the province, and they also manage all assessment appeals for the property owners, both residential and commercial. The city of Mount Pearl spends $270,000 annually for their services, and this is billed quarterly, and you'll see here the quarterly bill again for $67,470. Another one to note is Saunders Equipment here for $16,428.90, and this has to do with our very successful garbage cart program. I know it's welcome, especially during the winter months, and certainly during times when we have excessive garbage. It's nice to be able to put it out. And the night before, well, of course, We have to replace wheels on these at times. So you'll see there in the kit, it's for 864 wheels. Each wheel costs $15 plus the freight, and that brings the total you see there again to $16,428.90. I'll also highlight island-wide promotions for $5,175. And this is for gym bags up at the Summit Center, our branded gym bags or book bags. So when we have a new member join our facility, they receive one of our branded gym bags or book bags. And this expense is to replenish our stock for our new membership. So I guess it's a good news story, because if we got to replace our bags, that means we're getting more members. So I see that as a good news story. So again, the total is there, and I move that these 9 invoices for approval be accepted as presented.
It is moved by Councillor Locke and seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. Question from Councillor Antle.
And I think there's more of a question maybe go to committee, I guess, but just a quick, and I was going to ask just municipal assessment agencies, say $300,000 a year. Why can't we do this in-house? Is there a reason why we can't do it ourselves?
You'd have to,
270,000.
I think it's been looked at before, but yeah, I think that's a committee issue.
Yeah, so I'm just saying.
You'd have to hire staff, right?
Can we take a look at that and see?
We can certainly take it back to committee.
I guess I like to.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
No, all good. Yeah.
Okay.
So I see Public Works are able to do cartwheels. That's a really nice thing. I'd like to see a video of that.
jumping
But
jacks.
I do want to note for the benefit of the public, if we have to replace your cart, yes, there is a cost. But if we have to just replace your wheels or your hinges, just phone Public Works, the call line, which will be consolidated, I believe, in the coming weeks, and just ask for, and you normally will get same day service to fix those wheels, because frankly, those carts don't work without the wheels. That has nothing to do with winter or summer, but and frankly, with the supply shortages you keep hearing about since COVID, these wheels were hard to get, and I know various municipalities were borrowing from each other as their inventories dwindled to keep the system going. So keep up the good cartwheels there, Director. Thank you very much. Any further comments before I call the motion? And all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Back to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. Our second item here is the payment registry for the information of council and our residents. The following payment registry is for January the 17th to January 31st of 2023, and a total of $97,435.04. And notably, you'll see that the Frosty Festival operating grant, $35,000, and the first billing of the recently awarded economic development strategy to KPMG for $34,500. So again, the Frosty Festival, we're all looking forward to it. It's a great contribution to a great community event, and the economic development strategy that's going to help us chart the course for our city for decades to come. So just a note there, and that's for information purposes, Your Worship.
No comments, questions? Back to you, sir.
Okay, and the third item that I'll take is the commemorative bench and tree program that we have here in the city. And this has to do with a pricing change for 2023. Just some background on our program, the commemorative bench and tree program. It provides an opportunity for our residents to memorialize significant others and or to commemorate significant events and occasions. And the cost of these items has been set to cover the cost of the city purchasing the items from external suppliers. And there's a range of options here. You can see there's 5 choices outlined in our kit here. That you can buy a wooden bench and a plaque. You can buy a metal bench and a plaque. You can buy the plaque only that we will fix to an existing piece of city infrastructure. You can purchase a maple tree that includes a plaque, or you can purchase an Austrian pine tree that also includes a plaque. So again, the cost that we charge for these is basically what the cost for purchasing these items for the city. There's no profit to be made here from the city. And you mentioned just recently, Mayor, about the supply chain issues with respect, to COVID, and we all know, Councillor Antle has signaled it multiple times, the cost increases. Well, the same thing applies here. There has been some, minor price increases for some of the items that we provide under this program, and As a result, we had to pass these increases on. So again, you can see them outlined there in your kit for the 5 options that are there. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Locke, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. I note, though, that these items are fairly expensive, but I believe it's because, and this is just an update of the current program, you know, it's been in existence for a few years, but out of respect for the people that are being honored, whether it's a plaque or otherwise, it's meant to look good for many, many years to come. Not that it will last forever. Hopefully the memories do, but that's what it's all about. We don't really want to go to, you know, some piece of old scrap lumber, for example, and embed a plaque on that, because that's really not honoring our residents' loved ones. So, you know, the prices do seem a bit high, but we mitigate that by offering many different options here, ranging from, as you said, $435 all the way up to $3,000. So
Right.
it doesn't force anybody to pay an enormous amount.
Right. And this includes, like our staff will provide the concrete base for it. And then we maintain it for 10 years under the program.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's a great way to honor loved ones. But you're right. We do have a range of options here to $435 to purchase a plaque. And many people do that, and they affix it to a bridge or, you know, an existing bench or something like that. So there are a range of options here, right up to the most expensive, which is the metal bench and a plaque. And again, we see those around us, and they're beautiful. They're such a nice addition to our city.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And carried. Thank you.
Thank
Over
you,
to
Mayor.
you.
I'll turn it over to Deputy Mayor.
Fine.
Thank you, Councillor Locke. That leaves us with 2 other items from our committee report. I'm really eager to talk to you folks about tonight and present a report regarding our textile diversion. So textiles, when we think about textiles, what we're talking about clothing items, material items, thing we wear every day, to, you know, anything in which we would be using fabric for. On a global scale, and it's really interesting that today we talked about wetlands and the environmental impacts and necessity of those areas. Textiles generally on an environmental level has a direct negative impact on many places in which are doing the dyeing. If you think of some places in India and other areas where a lot of the dyeing is happening, there's a lot of pollution that's caused, and that can also have not only an impact environmentally internationally, it also has a carbon footprint, because you're talking about textiles that will move into a fashion industry that started at one area, gets shipped to a factory, gets made, and the carbon footprint and the microplastics that come from that can be very, very damaging. So what does that have to do with us here in Mount Pearl? Well, knowing that all of these things are connected, and knowing that we are doing our part when it comes to deterring our impact in our carbon footprints. We in 2019 started a textile diversion project. And what that simply meant is creating bin locations throughout Mount Pearl, the Summit, the Glacier, Glory and Pearson, the Team Gujuk High Complex, and the Depot, all of which are still remaining there, and giving our citizens an opportunity before that goes directly into a landfill, potentially burned. And I'll tell you, has a significant impact and is one of the biggest culprits for waste in landfills. We have made it an opportunity to collect those things and bring it to one of the many organizations and for-profits that have secondhand clothing, and many of which also have a direct impact for charities, nonprofits, and for a lot of families and individuals that are doing more and more thinking and thoughts about clothing that are not only economical, but more environmentally safe. I'll tell you right now, I love going to at thrift stores. I am wearing a dress that I got on that is secondhand. I'm wearing boots that I got gifted to me, and there's something to be said about spreading your the life of a fabric that will deter it from getting into the environment, and ensuring that the lifeline of those things are important. So how have we been doing on this? I am incredibly excited to say that our textile diversion since 2019 has, when we look at right now in our kits in front of us, the first year alone, we had 33,138 pounds of textiles be diverted from landfills. In 2020, which I would like to say that on April, May, and June, these bins were completely closed due to COVID and health issues. We had 25,000 pounds. In 2021, we had 44,000 pounds. And roughly in 2022, we had 53,000 pounds of these textiles be diverted from the landfills. So the impact of this, and I know I went all over the place, starting from international impact to directly to what it looks like in landfills, and now is to recognize that we have an important part to play, that our city is doing its part. And there's also a direct impact. The more we have of great, wonderful clothes that are not going into a landfill, but could be somebody else's next treasure or your next outfit for tomorrow is a great thing. And I just wanted to identify, there's nothing to be really voted on here, but just noted the work that's being done. And I want to commend the staff, the council and the city and our residents that are participating in this program, that are making this happen. This is an important aspect, and it looks like every year we're getting more and more diverted. So it's definitely a successful program, and the endeavors in there are really important, I think, for the environment. And there's also social and ethical implications to this as well.
Thank you very much.
Mayor?
Yeah, please.
Just you're looking at the data there, you can see the impact that COVID had, as the deputy mayor highlighted there. But just to note, in 2022, when things started to get back to normal, I'll say, if you look at October, November, December, for example, compared to the year prior, I mean, 4 times more in October, 900 more in November. Almost 3,000 more pounds in December. And this speaks to one of the issues that the deputy mayor was speaking about, and this whole concept of fast fashion and how we're buying cheap clothing. And, it's like some people say, well, I mean, it was so cheap. I could not buy it. I had to buy it. I mean, it was only like $6 or $8, I had to buy it, but it's so disposable. So I think the data indicate that once people got back out of COVID, they went back to their regular shopping patterns, and you can see that. But the good news is it's not being thrown into the landfill, that we're diverting it from our landfill. And I think when we did the garbage audit, and Director Antle can probably help me with this, when we did the garbage audit, I think textiles were about 3 to 4%, or Director Dolimont as well. I think that's what our garbage audit showed. So 3% or 4% of our total tonnage going to Robin Hood Bay was from textiles. So again, bit at a time, we've increased our recycling program for our receptacles, our bottles and glasses and cardboard and paper. And this is another step towards an environmental measure for textiles. And who knows, maybe we'll be on track for a compost program that will remove the organics from our landfill site. So again, I just want to highlight, as Deputy Mayor did, it's a great news story, but another example of the efforts that the residents of Mount Pearl are taking to do our part to protect our environment, and certainly do our part for climate change. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, the finale, public works status update. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. So that leaves us with just going through some incredible work that's being done through our workers, staff, and the committee regarding public works. So individual prepaid bulk garbage collections are ongoing for 2023. Winter equipment maintenance and preparation, of course, is ongoing as we see the season move along and hopefully pass. Phase 2 of our urban forestry plan tender is closing as of February 6th. We also have a tender for park playground equipment being prepared for release. We're working on outdoor rinks to attempt to make usable again and after recent snow events. And of course, a lot of that is winter dependent. We have the equipment. We're ready, willing, and able as soon as the weather permits on a lot of that. Trail maintenance is ongoing, and that includes, not only the snow events, but grooming, but removal of dead fall trees. So keeping people active, keeping people moving across our city is so important to us, and we know we're definitely a city of walkers here. Work is being planned and carried out to prepare for Frosty Festival events. And we were happy to hear right straight from the mouth, the horse's mouth today from some of our members. And there's some exciting stuff happening there. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's beginning of that. And of course, road maintenance is ongoing. That includes manhole repairs, asphalt and potholes. And of course, as the weather permits, we're doing that work. We're also reviewing equipment for summer season maintenance, and that includes tractors and mowers. And as we do, and we will continue, we're monitoring water levels. So as you see, folks, in your kit there, we have the most recent, and it looks like they're on par with some, again, I'm just making sure I'm reading that right. Glenn, Mr. Dolomont, it looks like we are on par with what we normally are. It's a bit lower, actually. Would you say?
It's in the upper, sorry.
Yeah, I know right there now, according to the graphs and the levels, we're right on par, right
Yep.
where we normally
Yeah.
would be this time of year.
Great, thank you. And that's all I have for Public Works. And thanks to all the members and the workers and staff that are keeping all of this work ongoing as we go through the winter season.
Thank you. Well said. Very much so. Okay, time for we're running a little bit behind thanks to the company we had. So let's do a quick roundtable for new business. The focus will be on new. Councillor Rice, please.
Yeah, I'll be brief and quick as I can. Had a couple of items. So on the city site, there's I just noticed there's a starting tomorrow, the city of Mount Pearl will be offering a free snowshoe and cross-country ski rental program. And it's the word there free. So if the weather cooperates and we get some snow, great exercise. You want to get out, get a bit of fresh air, and get up to our beautiful Powers Pond area. Also, I want to say I'm so excited about Frosty Festival that I'm over the top, over the moon every night. I'm getting really excited. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's going to be a great week. And I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with my colleagues on council and friends and family and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Got to pace yourself, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, absolutely. And my last comment is I just want to say, a big shout out to all the people, right, we will be. All the organizers who helped Scott Hillier. I mean, he's a person who is having some difficulty right now with his health. And he's had some tremendous support over the last several weeks, almost a month or more now. And so I just want to say, we're all thinking about him and we're all supporting him, and hopefully he'll get over this hurdle, and hopefully positive vibes for him and lots of prayers along the way. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you very, very much. Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one thing for me. So the Mount Pearl Public Library, it's such a great spot. They have so many great activities for kids and for adults alike. So I just want to encourage residents to look at their Facebook page, because every week they have different activities and crafts. Like every Saturday they have a craft afternoon for kids where they do a different craft, often seasonally. So it might be like a Valentine's Day craft. They have a Lego station that the kids can enjoy. And they have an adult watercolor night, which is happening on February 9th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And that's completely free. So you can go ahead and sign up for that if you're interested. And yeah, just keep an eye, because they constantly have different crafts and activities such as that. And they're often well attended, but they would love to see more people come and utilize the library and all it has to offer. So thank you.
Thank you much. Councillor Fry, please.
Yes, the library really do have a lot of events, and it's impressive. It's good to have so many things and so many options for residents. The only thing I wanted to bring forward tonight is a congratulations to 3 Mount Pearl residents. With the Junos coming, we have 3 Mount Pearl residents who are nominees to
Hmm.
receive a Juno. And Becca Sims, and she is Classical Composition of the Year. And we have Susan Evoy, who is Music Counts Teacher of the Year, and our very own Andrew James O'Brien, and he is with the Fortunate Ones.
Hmm.
And their Contemporary Roots Album of the Year, that was You and Me from the Fortunate Ones. So, you know, we always talk about the talent we have in Mount Pearl in terms of theater and music, and this is proof. This is a testament. So congratulations to all. And also, I am looking forward to the Frosty Festival, especially looking forward to getting out and seeing everybody and all the residents. I mean, it's been 3 years, so
Yeah.
I am so looking forward to it, to get the smell of the house off me.
Well said.
you.
Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. First one for me is another congratulations to our city staff, to the city for winning the Economic Developers Association of Newfoundland Labrador Award
Hmm.
for a community project over 3,000 people. Indeed. 2 weeks ago, the city attended the Economic Development Awards of Excellence 2022, where the Economic Developers Association of Newfoundland Labrador and its partner Deloitte recognized the winners of the province's Economic Development Awards of Excellence. The award that we received recognizes community projects that have had major economic development impacts in a community or region with population over 3,000. The award rewards such things as strategic planning, BR&E, placemaking, sector development, tourism, community involvement, etc. The winner of the Community Project Award for the population of over 3,000, of course, is the City of Mount Pearl, and it's for our Find Your Center renewal plan. And this is an exciting plan that we're working on, and we made some budget decisions to advance this even further in 2023. And this will set the stage for the renewal and transformation of Mount Pearl's core, city core, over the next 25 to 30 years. It's intended to be a long-term vision that outlines strategies for public and private realm investment that will encourage the city center to grow and thrive well into the future. So it's a common theme here around this table where we're congratulating our economic development team. So please extend our congratulations to our team. And just one other, I want to send a shout out to Anthony Germain on CBC. I was driving home today and he was talking about something in Los Angeles, and he made reference to the City of Angels. And he said, for those who don't know, I'm not talking about the city of Mount Pearl. I'm talking about Los Angeles. So I want to commend and thank Anthony Germain for the acknowledgement that we are the City of Angels. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, well said. Deputy Mayor Kiley, please.
Well said indeed. Such an angelic report.
Oh, you devil, you.
Oh my God. It's just, oh yeah, the Frosty Festival is definitely coming out of all of us. We're excited to get fun and exciting and foolish. I just wanted to also share in congratulating our Corporate Services and Public Works Committee and Economic Development team. It's been such a pleasure and honor. I think myself and Councillor Locke many times have congratulated you over as being co-chairs over the past a few years. And it just goes to show the amount of work and dedication, the innovation that is being demonstrated and worked on and developed. It's just an exciting time here to be working on that as a city. I'm quite proud.
Trophies from corporate services and cartwheels from Public Works. My jeepers, that's the fun committee. I think that's the fun committee.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trophy. It's blue and gorgeous. It's very fancy. I'm very excited. But again, I'm getting silly again. It's Frosty Festival. I can only blame. I do want to, I just have one item. I wanted to bring just some attention to a launch that's going to be happening in our our neighboring city in St. John's. And after basically 3 years of work, First Voice Urban Indigenous Coalition, and this is a coalition run certainly by First Voice, but represents urban areas, including Mount Pearl and surrounding areas, around an action plan. And it's a community action plan that had a lot of work, research, engagement done in a meaningful way around 42 calls of change that have been informed by some important documents, the calls to action for truth and reconciliation on the commission, the calls of justice for the National Inquiry of Murdering or Missing Indigenous Women, and the principles of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And those are 3 monumental foundational documents. So there's going to be a launch of this document. And what's really valuable is that it's certainly grounded in the urban area of where our city lies and our neighboring cities, and certainly has an Indigenous lens and an accessible lens. So that'll be taking place February 9th at 10 o'clock. It'll be at the First Life Center for Performance and Creative at 42 Bannerman Street. And more importantly, for those that can attend, I do recommend and highly encourage you, they are going to release a digital copy of those recommendations for us to review, look, reflect. I'm quite proud of our city of the work we have done over the past years, in really truly taking what we mean, some of the teachings, learnings, and guidance of what truth and reconciliation means. And this could just be another opportunity for us to look at the tools, guidance, and voices of what our Indigenous urban community is saying about what's to make a safe community, and a large vision and a shared vision around that. So I just wanted to bring people's attention to that. Certainly check it out online or attend yourself. It's always good to know and hear about the voices and shared principles that are really being formed by our community of Indigenous leaders, allies, and change makers. So that's all for me.
Well said. Thank you very much. Very informative. Over to you, Councillor Antle, for the finale.
All good comments. I'll bring up something. I'll try not to get upset because it's a personal thing to me, and I may be a personal thing to everybody else here, is that we walk the trails. So we constantly walk the trails, and people don't pick up after their dogs. Right. And this is why it's a personal thing, is because this morning I walked the trails and it's covered with snow, and you're walking dog feces.
Yeah.
People think because your dog is going to be covered, it's going to rot. Mount Pearl, we supply the bags, and there, most of the poles you can go around Mount Pearl, you can find a bag to pick up after your dog. It's so easy to do. But when you have a light coating of snow, people don't see it. There's children walking out, there's seniors walking out, and you end up walking in dog feces. Pick up after your dog. That's the right thing to do. I don't know how many times we have to tell people to do that and how we get to stop it, but it's the polite thing. It's the right thing to do. And that's it for me. And that's new business too.
It's a great reminder. You can't take anything for granted, but the snow makes it more visible. So, it's never a good thing to hide it, never a good thing to do it in the first place. And, good advice. And, if you're on the trails, enjoy them. I noticed they've been groomed in the last couple of days. We've had fresh snowfall. And good on you for getting out, because, it's nice that we live in a place with, I think Councillor Locke often refers to the 63 kilometers of trails. And it's nice to see that you're out in the winter time. And we just asked our animal lovers to respect everybody's, cleanliness and hygiene and, concern for the environment. On that note, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn. Thank you for attending, everybody. And on motion of Councillor Locke and Councillor Antle, the birthday boys, we are adjourned.